Today we're visiting Robyn, who together with her husband Mick is living a picturesque country lifestyle nestled in the mountains. Their lifestyle includes growing an abundance of homegrown organic food and have a strong community around them.
I'm Robyn Bowden. We've been here since 2015, so coming up to 10 years now.
Yeah, and how big is the property?
It's 5 acres.
What made you want to move here?
We had our children and they'd grown up on a property before in Gunnedah where, we lived for quite some time, and we had space and we had fresh air and we had places to grow things. We had places for our horses. Our kids had a great life climbing trees and riding ponies, and we really enjoyed that lifestyle. But once they got to an age where they needed to go to uni, we had to come to Tweed Heads where they were going to study. So we built a house there and it was beautiful. We enjoyed it, but we still really missed the opportunities to have our own piece of space and bird life and views and horses that we can see every day of the week and feed and ride without having to go miles to do so. I guess probably the catalyst for the whole thing was when my husband Mick became ill with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We'd kind of been prior to that thinking, well, we just really are missing that lifestyle. We should really think about doing something. And then when he got sick, we thought, well, it's not a very good time. However, it also prompted us to realise that life is short and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So why not do what we want to do now, that our kids are off doing their own thing, and think about what we wanted in life. And so we started to look around this area to find something beautiful, and we did.
Yeah, it is an absolutely stunning property.
Absolutely, yes.
The surrounding mountains and just fresh air is just peaceful, calming.
Yeah.
And I think when you're going through a challenge like you both did and your family did, to be in this environment, I think is maybe a little bit of a portion to help the situation.
It massively eased both of our souls. It also gave my husband something to look forward to. Instead of just looking at four walls, he could go out and walk around the gardens and plan and come up with ideas, and he's great at fixing things, so he could sit and have his own little shed to fix things with. We put in all the organic gardens, and everything he ate was then fresh and healthy with no contaminants. And his doctor said he was the only patient he ever knew that gained weight on chemotherapy.
Wow.
So he got healthy, and inevitably 10 years down the track he's cured and happy and healthy and living the life. So it was the best thing that we could do. The gardens, there was a basic garden along here, but we've just gradually over the 10 years added more and more, just so that there's lots of edibles all through the place, scattered all around, and we can just literally think of what's in season and say, like, I've got eggplant at the moment, so I'm going to make an eggplant parmigiana. So we just kind of guided, because I love to cook as well, what we wanted to eat, and we could live a more sustainable life. All the panels, so pretty much we don't pay very little electricity. Everything comes from the panels. We've got 5 different water tanks, so we don't have town water here. We have all the water we need. We have a tank up near the garden that gets pumped up from down at our dam, which comes from stream water out of the ground. And so everything we do is in tune with nature more, and we love that.
All right, I want to go see this veggie patch.
Yeah, let's do it.
So what have we got growing here?
Yeah, this garden here's got some cabbage in there, and also some cauliflower and broccoli. They're all quite a bit similar in their leaf shape. We've got some different heirloom tomatoes growing in here. Some of them are the black cherry ones. got a couple of golden pear tomatoes as well. And there is a capsicum kind of growing up the middle of that one.
Yeah, I can see that. Poking through.
Poking through.
Yeah.
Over here, we have sweet potato and strawberries. This is our chili tree, which...
Flourishing.
Yeah, it's going really well. The green ones are great if you don't want too spicy. The red ones are a little bit hotter, so...
Bit of a kick.
Bit of a kick.
Yeah, nice.
This is our lime tree. You can see it pretty much fruits all year round, which is great. So good for a gin and tonic or
absolutely
something like that.
A little treat.
Yep. We have this just growing everywhere. Just is also helpful to keep the bugs out of anything. The nasturtium flower is a kind of bit of a bug repellent, which is great. This one has some carrots and some purple king climbing beans. And this is another tomato, of course. And this is one of my favourite plants, which is called the Tromboncini zucchini.
Yeah, well, how cool is that shape?
They are so, and they grow perhaps that big like a trombone. And then the end has a ball on it, which we cut off and keep the seeds for the next time. And the long part, which is quite long and round, has no seeds like a normal zucchini. So it's very easy and it's more firm to use in cooking. It's fabulous. It doesn't have the water content. So
yeah, and
it's really good.
It looks
cooking.
Pretty happy here.
Yeah, there's quite a few on the ends here going a bit nuts, which is great. And it loves to climb up and catch the sun there.
Yeah, I see you've got a couple of bits and pieces that the plants are using to climb.
Oh yes, we do like to put frames in, especially for the winter because, you know, this garden does get a bit more shade. So the climbing plants really love to climb up and catch that sunlight up there. This one looks a bit messy, but everything in here is actually edible. We've got the sweet potato under here. This plant is also edible.
Oh, really?
You can eat it in a salad.
There you go.
It's got a peppery taste.
I didn't know
that. A little bit like rocket, very strong.
Wow.
And this particular spinach, this is a spinach.
Oh.
And it is fantastic. Good to eat.
Yeah.
Goes in your salad like a lettuce.
Oh, nice.
It's really yummy to add as well.
So you're not running out of greens to put in salads?
No, we have tons of greens. Yeah, we eat salads pretty much every night of the week, which we love. We've also got a grapevine over here, which is just about finished, but it grows a beautiful purple muscat every year, which we've been into. And there's a lemon tree over the back there, which is a bit lacking in sun at the moment.
And I see here you've got some black plastic as well. What's the purpose of that?
Yeah, well, as the gardens do their thing and finish their season, what we like to do is, as you can see over there, we've got 3 compost bays. So we have 3 different levels of compostation, if there's such a word. And so what we'll do is we'll just cover the garden with lots of compost. We put the black plastic on. The sun kills the weeds underneath, but it also helps all the compost decompose. So when we come back into our next growing season, which for these gardens will be September, the soil has plenty of enrichment, and we also have a lot of worm and microbial activity happening underneath the black plastic. So
it's almost like a second composting cycle.
Absolutely.
You do it in the 3 bay and then you put it over here.
Yeah, that's right.
And it keep all of the soil very moist and
yes,
kind of fertile, because otherwise if you had that plastic off, I assume it would probably dry out pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's for sure. It does. We give it a good soaking before we put the topping on. And then when we're ready to plant, we'll probably put a couple of wheelbarrows of soil that's like enriched with some mushroom compost in there as well, and that will kick everything off beautifully come September.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I'll have to come back in September.
Yeah.
And I see a box over there. What have we got happening over there?
Oh, well, yeah, that's our native bees. As you're probably aware at the moment that, you know, European bees are pretty few and far between these days, and we have a lot of stuff to pollinate. Yeah. So there's probably 1,000 native bees in that box. Wow. And you can see them out in the sun doing their work quite regularly. Creating honey too, we have taken honey from it, but a jar this big is like a year's worth of honey for them.
So it's not where the constant supply is coming
No,
from.
not at all.
Well, that's fair enough.
We still do hand pollinate the pumpkins, just in case it can be a bit hit and miss with the female pumpkin plant getting fertilised. So we do a little bit of naughty stuff with the pumpkins to create baby pumpkins.
Exactly. Yeah, I was mentioning to you before, I did that with zucchini.
Yeah,
once.
that was the zucchinis
So
too.
pumpkin, zucchinis, you might end up having to do the handiwork for them.
Yeah, all those with the big flowers, and it's pretty easy because you can just take a male flower off, and the male flower is identifiable because it doesn't have the bulb underneath, and then you can pretty much strip the flowers from the outside.
Wow, look at that pollen.
Yeah, you can see the pollen all in there. And then you just put that inside the female plant where the ova is, that's shaped like a clam, and you just pretty much mix it around in there till some pollen comes off and you get a baby.
I love that.
Yes.
Very simple.
Yes, very simple.
Not complicated.
Not at all.
Lots going on here. Got some seedlings.
Yes, this is where most things start, from a seed. It's very pleasurable to take something from a seed through to the garden and then harvest and then have food come from it. So that's what we try and do for the most part. Some things we buy in, but mostly, as you can see here, there's some cabbage, Wakefield cabbage growing here. This one's Lebanese cucumbers. There's some jarrah pumpkins here, which I noticed the mice had chewed a little bit.
Good. Just what we want.
Yes, and this one's got cos lettuce, and there you can see the zucchini just starting to pop up out there. So usually with the smaller ones, we just pot them on till they get 4 or 5 leaves on them and they're ready to go in the garden. The bigger ones, they can just go pretty much straight in once it only takes about 2 weeks for them to be ready for the garden. So the bigger the seed, the quicker it can be planted out. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
And so this is where these have all come from. Seeds that
from
have been grown. Yeah.
And so this acts as a bit of your greenhouse in winter, is that right?
Yeah. It's a hot house in the winter too, because it faces the sun. It's got protection, but it faces the sun. It's got a little bit of structure there, so there is a little bit of shade here and there. And so it's perfect for growing conditions during the winter. And in the summertime, it's covered in shade cloth, so it's protected again from the sun being too hot, and still a great environment for growing young plants, basically.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, there's quite a lot going on here. I can see beetroot and lettuce and snow peas.
Definitely, we've got these are pod peas, so you can let them grow to pods, or you can literally use them as a snow pea and cook them up just like that in a stir fry or whatever. But I just love to wait till they get big and plump and then just walk around while I'm doing the garden and eat them. So they're usually all gone before they get to the point of picking them properly.
I can relate to that.
We've got some lettuce in here, some spring onions. This is called an Anna Rosa, which is an heirloom type of eggplant as well. So fairly prolific, and we've just pulled another one off. So that one's going to be eggplant parmigiana in the next couple of days.
It's going to be dinner. Oh,
yeah.
I was going to ask you about pests, and then I just spotted a slug on your lettuce there.
Yeah.
How do you go about dealing with some of these pests?
Well, generally we pick them off.
Yeah, okay.
If we lose a couple of lettuces to slugs having a party, we're not really that concerned. But if we end up with a big confusion of bugs that are making massive damage, we tend to just use the eco spray or something like that. Or you can make up your own just using oil and milk to spray them with, and even just put a couple of drops of pyrethrum in there, which is a natural pest deterrent, and just give them a spray with that from time to time, and that moves them on. So we also net. So in this garden here you can see where a lot of the other seedlings have gone in, and you can see the net which we've rolled up today just for filming, but it then will come back down, so it totally protects plants from not all bugs, but from most bugs. Yeah.
Gives it a bit of a barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
So that you don't have to come through and handpick maybe so often.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy's going to have some fun, I tell you that. Lots going on here as well, and everything's absolutely thriving.
Yes, it is thriving. You can see the soil is really good. Yeah.
Oh, look,
a couple of worms in there. Just dug a little bit to put some plants in the other day, and it was absolutely teeming with worms as well. So, yeah, we've just got some carrots going on in here. You can see them.
How good's that?
Yeah, still got a bit of growing to do, but they're nice to just pull out small like that for some recipes as well, so you don't get an overlog of the same size ones all at once.
Yes.
I just take the baby ones out and use them. And you can see here there's some young ones coming up, so we try and have plants growing at different stages so that when all the ones I planted 3 months ago are finished, then we can move on to the next slot, and then we can replant that plot with the bigger ones were again as well.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, up the back there we've got cauliflowers. There's one little baby one growing in there. There's some celery over here. These are our tomatoes. This is just a fairly young plant, so this hasn't started fruiting yet. It's starting to get some nice flowers on there. Over the back we've got some cabbages, some Chinese cabbage as well, and beans and eggplants. And as you can see when we look down there, the lettuce is pretty much thriving.
Yeah.
In that area.
Well, what's your secret to having such good looking plants? Is it the soil, I guess?
It starts with the soil. It's good to have a good microbial soil that holds the moisture pretty well without having too much clay or anything. So there's not much clay in this soil. The soil is made up from mushroom compost, which we add in, our own compost, which is made from horse poo, chook poo. We even sometimes buy alpaca poo and put it in there.
Yeah.
And grass clippings, spent vegetables, a bit of lime goes in there, and leaves when the trees all drop their leaves. So you build up a little bit of the green, a little bit of the brown, a little bit of the dry.
Yeah.
And usually we'll give it a really good soak, and then often cover it with an old horse rug or something like that as it gets closer being ready. And then it comes out into the garden ready for the next season.
Yeah, wow. How many hours do you think you spend in the garden?
Okay, there you go. I would say probably 8 to 10.
A day?
A week.
Okay, I was thinking, oh, that's a full-time job.
No, we try and put lots of mulch down so it has a lot of straw covering. Not so much in the winter time, but in the summertime we use a lot of straw in the garden to conserve moisture. Watering in the summer has to be done every day, but in the winter probably every second day. So, and we work together. Micken does all the heavy lifting, so
good.
He moves soil, makes garden beds. He does all that kind of thing. Well, I'm the green thumb one, so
focusing on the growing portion.
But it's not work to me anyway.
No,
I'm a very outdoorsy person, so I enjoy if I'm not gardening, then I'm golfing or horse riding. So being outside is part of my lifestyle, and I love coming out. I can't walk past all of this without pulling a weed or two out and, plucking out a carrot and giving it to the horse or whatever.
Getting caught up in it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a chore at all.
Good lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of the horses, do you want to go and have a look?
Absolutely.
I'd love to see them. Now, you've mentioned horses a few times during the tour. It sounds like they're a pretty big part of your life.
Yeah, they're a huge part of our life, and part of the reason I'm here is the access to the forest up there, which is very rare. Like us horse riders find it very hard to find places to ride. and up there we have miles and miles of it. So part of our lifestyle is also having other people be allowed to come here with their horses and enjoy the environment as well. Stay in the bungalow and put their horses in the stables and off we go.
What were their names?
This is Oscar.
Oscar. Hi, Oscar.
Both boys. And this one's Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah.
And
they're very sweet.
And how much riding do you get to do?
I ride 3 times a week, so probably about 50 or 60 kilometres a week out there in the forest.
That's impressive. And I know that you have quite a bit of recycling going on here.
Yeah.
So everything, I mean, you just fed the carrot to the horse that came out of the garden.
Yeah.
And what's the cycle?
Well, look, anything in the garden that might be a bit bug-eaten or not perfect to eat for us, the horses will happily chew. They love pretty much anything from that garden. In fact, usually when I'm weeding that garden and pulling out bits, they stand behind there waiting for me to throw them over the fence. And then, of course, the end result of that is poop.
Yeah.
And poop goes into our big poop wheelie bin over there. We pick up after them every day and it goes over there. And then we pull that around with the mower to the gardens and it goes into the compost bay. So
how good's
it
that?
gets pretty good compost in there itself for a couple of months, and then it goes and it's already broken down quite a bit.
Yep.
And it will go over there into the garden ready to complete the cycle.
Yeah, and that's one thing I guess for people to be aware of is that the horse poo can be quite acidic for plants straight on there, so it's pretty much has to be.
Yes, you have to have it with 3 or 4 months minimum of breakdown. Comes out of the stables as well, which is also a recycled product that we use from the timber mill at Yukai when they mill their timber, and the sawdust, which would be normally just a waste product and waste to the environment. We go and pick it up with our horse float, put it in our stables.
Oh, wow.
And we use their offcuts, buy their offcuts of wood from there as well to use in our fires.
Oh,
too.
how cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Robyn.
You're welcome.
And Mick, off
You're
camera,
welcome.
for having us, because you have created such a sensational place.
Thank you.
It's almost might actually move into the bungalow if you don't mind.
A lot of people have said that.
Yeah, I can see why you chose this piece of paradise.
Yeah.
And you know, with the pinnacle in the background,
Yes.
you don't need to hang picture frames in your house, because you
No.
can just look outside out the windows.
Yeah, so we've got the pinnacle on that side and Mount Warning on that side, so we're very fortunate. There's always a pretty place to be.